Today I am going to explain what is re-innovation. Re-innovation also you have to understand, then you will realize that innovation is actually the novel innovation will be done rarely, but the next step of the existing innovation is called re-innovation. Let's see. And Under this lesson, you have to understand the evolution of some innovations, what is re-innovation, and mainly. So last week, if you remember, no, week before the last, if you could remember, I explained about the Thomas Alva Edison. So he had over 1,000 patents, invention like the electric bulb, 35 millimeter camera film, even the electric chair also he has innovated during his period. And also he realized that the real challenge in innovation was not inventing but making it work technically and commercially. So this is very very important, the making it work technically and commercially, because you could remember that during this that lecture I explained, technically there may have some lot of ideas we have, but we cannot implement it technically due to some reasons. Sometimes the technology is not enough, or else even though the technology is there, it will be very expensive, and developing using such expensive technology, the products cannot be commercialized. So both these two must match, the technically and commercially viable. So otherwise you can't get the expected outcome. Actually, innovation, last week I explained, innovation equals invention plus commercialization. So the commercialization is very very important. Otherwise, if unless you can commercialize your innovation, that is not the innovation, that is invention. So the commercialization is very very important. Otherwise it will fail. So after inventing the electric bulb, Alva Edison Corporation developed the infrastructure for electricity generation and distribution, including the design lamp, stands, switches, and wiring. So you can understand that not only he developed the electric bulb, but also he developed the infrastructure for electricity generation and distribution, and designing the lamp, stands, switches, and wirings also. So he innovated the total solution. So he started the business enterprise in 1920, and it was 21.6 billion US dollars worth. So hence the innovation is not simply coming up with the new ideas, it is the process of growing them into the practical use. So most of the from your ideas, I analyze your ideas, the 90% of your ideas can be implemented as well as can be commercialized. So in your stage, actually, if you think towards that one, you will become a good innovator when you are going to graduate, because this is not the one single course module you have to develop your innovative ideas, but the next the final year, once again you have a course module, innovation and entrepreneurship. Then in that class also I am going to conduct it, or I will teach how to do the business using these innovative products. So after the graduation, I prefer one of your groups continue start the startups businesses and do the business, rather than finding a job in a company, or else in the government sector, you will if you work there, you will realize that you are bound to certain environment. So if you work as a entrepreneur or start a startup company, then you have a freedom to work in different fields. Even the manage, you have to meet the customers and you have to discuss with the customers. You have to manage the subordinate or the employers, and you know what are the problems they have. So even in not in a large scale, in a small scale, if you start, you will you can develop that after few years time. When you analyze most of the Fortune 500 companies that were started in the Silicon Valley, they started in a small scale. You know that the Facebook also started as a university project. Not only that, Cisco and other multinational companies started, and even in the Federal Express. Federal Express has a one. He innovated the business idea. So what is that business idea? That idea was called the hub and spoke model. So hub and spoke model, that means he started the courier service called the Federal Express. So hub is the center, that spoke is the regional or small centers all over the country. So there is a one hub. The courier items will be collected from these different centers and bring to one place. After that, from this one place, sort the items and send it to the next hub, which is in a foreign country, and from that hub distribute the items to the relevant addresses. Likewise, he introduced a method called the hub and spoke model. That is a business model, not only the ICT, but now you can see later. We'll discuss that. And another thing is the inventory control system introduced in the Walmart supermarket. That inventory control system is the most sophisticated inventory control system in the world. So they use the high technology, the QR codes, RFIDs, every thing they are using for the stock inventory control and the stock management. So they can easily find the items that they where they have put, because using this RFIDs as well as QR codes. So let's see the history of lighting. So you can see the ancient Egyptians used these candles, then the lamps. Actually, this is used the kerosene, or most of the time using the kerosene. And 1810, then 1879 the electric bulb, then the fluorescent tubes. You are familiar with these fluorescent tubes. 1934. Then CFL compact fluorescent lights. CFL, you know that. Then LED bulb, light emitted diodes. Using the diodes, you can see this one. When you consider, the concept is lighting. So for that, you know that one concept has different products. So one concept only. The candle also provides the lights, and also the lamp, the bulb, and from this you can see the same technology with different modification. Power consumption, reduce the power consumption, and increase the lighting. And here also the LED bulbs use the least power and get the high efficiency. When you go to this website, so here history of the light bulbs, brief history of the light bulbs. Actually, the electric lights, one of the everyday convenience that most affects of our lives. So then you can see the Thomas Alva Edison did not invented the CFLs as well as LEDs. So he invented the electric bulb. From that, the through that idea, other innovators develop the different products, so that you can see the innovation. From one innovation it could be developed. So early light bulbs, 1870, I will tell you, here is the Thomas Alva Edison first light bulb. Here you can see his first light bulb. And other notable days, actually 1906, General Electronics Company were the first patent a method of making tungsten filament for use the incandescent light bulbs. I will give you this link, then you can read. And likewise you can see the LED bulbs and the fixtures. Here you can see different types of LED bulbs, fixtures, as well as you can see the difference of these bulbs. So we'll go to the lesson once again. You can then, that is the evolution of the electric bulb. Now we are using the LEDs, which consumes less electric power than the electric bulb introduced by the Thomas Alva Edison. That is the development. And I want to discuss the another one, evolution of the televisions. You know, this is also one of the we can identify the different television from 1930s. You can see 30s, 50s, 70s, 90s, 2000 and 2010. And you can see also when you go to this document, evolution of the television technology. First technology, black and white TV. You can, I think you haven't seen this black and white TV, because when you was born, you those were not. And cathode ray tube, CTR TV, normally called the CTR TV. Then rear projection TV. The rear projection TV means you can find the tube inside of this TV. Next one is LED or plasma, LCD or plasma TV. Next one is LED TVs. Now we are using the LED TVs, and OLED and QLED TVs also we are using from 2019, I think. Yes, 2019 we are using organic light emitting diodes. This TV consists of the organic emitting light diodes. Technology came in 2019. You can find these screens in most smartphones and TVs. Okay, then you can see the idea is same, the television, but different with the development of the technology and develop the black and white to the color. Then from that color, develop then it tries to reduce the size. Earlier, if you have seen the earlier 48 or 52-inch TV, it was something like a big cabinet. If you want to put in your living room, you have to you had to use the considerable space for that. But by introducing the LCD TVs, the flat one, and even you can hang on a wall, and it took a lesser space to put in your living room. So that also, then after reducing the time, the technologists actually try to innovate the less power consumption televisions. As a result of that, they introduced the LEDs, using the light emitting diodes, and LED TVs. LED light emitting diodes use these TVs, and you can see the size as well as the colors are very sharp, and very clearly you can find the images from the LED TVs and OLED TVs. So next, here when you consider the computer technology, how it develops, I don't want to explain, but 60s actually, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2010, you can see the tablet TVs came from after 2000. Smartphones also, you can see unit install the actually workstations. Earlier, the workstations and the mainframe, mini frame, like computers were there, and the computer center concept also there. There was a one mainframe, and from that mainframe we can find the number of terminals in a room, and each of the user has been given a username and the password to enter to the main system and use that. From the terminal, the users can enter to the mainframe and work. It had the shared hard disks, shared processor, shared memory. So in the same time, the multiple users could use the system. Gradually it was developed to the personal computers in 80s, and IBM first introduced the personal computer. Then the personal computers were developed in different forms using the different processors, from 8086 processor, now 8088, then Pentium family came, now the I series also came later, and dual core, quad-duo, I series. Now we are using the i5 and i7 processors with our computers. And also from 90s, late 90s, they introduced the laptop computers also. So you can nowadays you can get the high specification laptops with the less weight. So, and also the tablet PCs, smartphones. Then you can see the technology is most of the time they develop the technology, but the concept also same. When you consider one-norm architecture, that architecture is being using with the new computers and the devices also. So what do you think? I explained 3 ideas. This is history of lighting, as well as evolution of the televisions, as well as the computer evolution of the computers. What do you think about everything that can be invented has been invented? So what do you think about this idea? So who can answer? Shanaka, Sairu, can you answer? Everything that can be invented has been invented. Is it correct or not? Huh? So actually the novel idea came with a new technology. When you can consider the television as well as the electric bulb, we'll go back once again here, bulbs. With the introduction of the LEDs, light emitting diodes, the researchers decided to use that one and use that one with the existing idea and develop the product. That television also the same, and this computer hardware also with the development of the new hardware. So why we are using i7 and i3 processors with our computers rather than quad duo and dual core processors? You know that when the development of the processor technology, most of the company, Pentium or else ADM, they wanted to develop the processors, the chips, as small as they can. When they developed the smallest processors, they had another problem, because they want to put the internal memory there as well as the registers and high processing power. In such case, the processors emit the heat when they are going to reduce the size. It emits the heat. As a result of that, they wanted to have the parallel processors, and they wanted to introduce the parallel processors. As a result of that, we can have the i3, i7 and quad dual core and quad dual the same as i3, i7 now. Before long, you will be able to see the i9 also. So what do you think? So everything that can be invented has been invented. The idea, a certain idea was there, but with the development of the new technology, this technology can be used with that ideas. So that's why you also, when you are going to have the ideas of my assignment 1, you also could follow this thing. And also you can find some single word here. The single word has best defined our ability to reshape society, technology and the business over the past 200 years. What is the single word? What do you think about that? What is the single word that has defined our ability to reshape society or the technology or the best or the and business over the past 200 years? Then another one is, what is then another single word? What is the single word best define the greatest challenges in our ability? What do you think? What is the single word the best define the greatest challenge to our ability to innovate and to deal with uncertainty in future? What do you think about? What can you guess the single word? Can someone guess the single word? uh, how do you connect? So what is the single word? That is the connection. Actually, when you analyze the previous three example, you can see the connection of the past. Define the ability to reshape society using the by connecting the past. You are going to reshape the society and the technology and the business over the past too. And also, the connection define the greatest challenge to our ability to innovate, the deal with uncertainty in the future. So that means every innovation has a connection with the past. Most of the time we can find every innovation has a connection of the past innovations. So when you consider how many devices are we using now, if you use the car, nearly 150 or sometimes lesser number, over 100 controlling systems are using in the modern cars. The ABS system as well as the fuel monitoring systems, and you can see more than 100 devices, actually 150 devices. The home and residential and pets, the wearable sensors. Normally you are using sometimes you are using wearable sensors for the traffic transportations, and cameras, surveillance cameras as well as in your mobile phone cameras, the computers, mobile devices, industrial scanners, controllers, rental as well as banking and medical and communication. How many devices you are using now? Normally when you calculate, nearly 200, more than 200 devices are using by you for the day-to-day activities. When you use the computer, how many devices are there? How many small devices are there? And if you use the mobile phone, if it is a smartphone, I think you can't find the other phones. All you have the smart Android or iOS devices. If you use the tab, and if you use the mobile devices, any other mobile devices, normally you are using different types of devices. It was analyzed that by 2100 here, the number of projected devices by this 2100, more than 10 billion devices will be developed. So now after 80 years time, we can find more than 2 billion devices which will be used for different purposes. So those are actually related, all these devices are related to the ICT innovations. So sometimes there may have some slight changes only for the existing one. There may have some slight changes. So consider the cell phone company. When you consider the Apple used Apple's now they have released the Apple 13. I think before end of this year they will release the Apple 14 also. The lifetime of the version is very, very short. When you consider I am using 6S, so I got this 5 years time, but it's using, and there is no any problem. But during this 5 years time, how many versions they have launched? That means the lifetime of the devices are very, very short. So when you consider the computer devices, the lifetime of the devices are very short. So that's why by 2100, there may have more than 10 billion devices, and we will have to use most of these devices for our day-to-day activities. So when you consider this innovation process, it has become the core business process. That means innovation is more than a concept, and it needs to be grounded in some practical tool and methods. So that is very, very true. So there may have some concepts. Some concepts can be implemented, and some concepts cannot be implemented. But if you have an innovative concept, it needs to be grounded in some practical tools and methods. Using some practical tools and method, you will be able to ground it. Otherwise, no use of having the concept. Concept just you can keep away, because it cannot be used for the human lives to ease the task or help to the human lives. So it needs some it needs system and solutions. So consider the assignment 1 I give you. That is the time I gave you the very, very timely. You have to develop the solution. If you have a good solution, you can commercialize it very easily. So there is nothing wrong with feeling good, but good about it, but you need to have something in place to keep innovation going after the signing and dancing has ended. So when you are going to ground your concept using the tools and methods, you have to analyze that in a different aspects. Whether when you are going to develop, you must have customer segments to buy it, and it must be satisfied. It must satisfy a certain unmet needs and wants of the customers. That means, and also you have to analyze the customer buying power, and whether if you price this product as, whether you have to analyze the customers can afford that price. If all these are satisfied, definitely you can make a success of developing that product. That's why always when you are going to introduce when you have a concept, and always try to introduce the low cost, high efficiency solutions, because the country like Sri Lanka, actually we are the developing countries, we don't have much money to develop the highly sophisticated items. If we develop that one, we must have a certain customer segment to buy that. So when you are if in the ICT innovations also, you have to introduce, if you can introduce the low cost solution that can be used by the large number of customers, it will be a very, very profitable idea. Then we'll come to the re-innovation, the topic of the today's lesson. Previously I explained the background to discuss this re-innovation. That's why I discussed the evolution of the computers, as well as the televisions, as well as the electric bulb, and you can now you have an idea about this re-innovation. Re-innovation is about rethinking how we create values actually I want to add something here of the new technology. Rethinking how we create the value using the new technology. So get the electric bulb and the LED bulb. Those two produce the light. But when you analyze the electric and the LED use the LED consumes the less power than the electric bulb. And in between that you can find the fluorescence, CFL and so on, and also the televisions also. Consider the 1930s with the 2020. So nowadays most of the televisions are LED because it consumes less power than the LCD, than the other cabinet type bulky TVs. Okay, so another one thing, this one of the good example of the Amazon bookstore. They fundamentally reinvented the bookstore from the outside by personalizing the experience of buying books. But so Amazon bookstore actually first introduced the online bookstore. So the idea is the same, selling the book, and they were not limited to sell the books for the US, and they wanted to sell the books to the global. So, and also they wanted to business 24/7. So that's why with the development of the technology, with the development of the ICT, broadband technology, as well as PHP, MySQL, and Apache technology, they think the same idea concept is said in the book, and use that one using the technology. So that's why I think I told you the reinvention is the rethinking of how we create the values of the existing one. Okay, now I think you could get the idea about this. So Apple reinvented the music industry. They did not invent it. So Apple iPod, I don't know whether you have seen that iPod. iPod actually, from that iPod, that is a little small device you can put into your pocket, and if you want to listen the music using the earphones, you can listen the music. And when you compare the Walkman, introduced by, actually first introduced this idea by the Sony. Actually the Sony founder wanted to listen the music while he was jogging or walking in the evening. So that is the first idea he had. So he tried several methods, and finally he could develop a device that actually in those days we did not have the CDs, CDs and DVDs, only we had the cassettes. So he introduced a certain small player that can be the portable player while he was walking, he could listen the music using this cassette, the portable one, and it can be hung on the belt or belt. So that is the first idea introduced by the Sony. Then gradually the Sony introduced the same player to use the CDs and DVDs, because CDs and DVDs can store more songs than the cassette tape. And then Apple got that idea, reinvented the music industry by introducing the iPod. From one single iPod, it could store 24,000 songs. Once in and also there was a facility to select the required songs, and you can categorize the songs according to the artist's name, or else according to some themes, and store the songs. So it was very very convenient, and also the music quality is very high. The Apple devices, even now also, the Apple devices has the high quality music. So they introduced that one. It was very famous all over the world, and even also I had one. uh, I got it 2008, exactly 14 years before. So then the iPod concept also, with the introduction of the smartphones, and using the smartphones, the users can listen the music. The iPod popularity of the iPod is getting reduced. So nowadays I don't know whether we can find the iPods in the market. And Apple reinvented that music industry. So this you can understand how technology used for reinvent the existing ideas. So what do you think about this? You have to answer for this. What do you think about this? Huh? What are your views? Can someone answer? Please, I want to get the answers from you. I want to interact. Yes. Buddhimak, please ask your students to answer this one. What they can see from this? Huh? Who can answer? Hello? Chamudi, can you answer? Pasad, what can you see? Fatima, what can you see this? Huh? Please answer. No one, no one is, no one is going to laugh at you. Please, what you can see? Okay, or else can you chat? Beautiful woman face. Yes, Mafitz told he could see the beautiful woman's face. So what else you can see? Can someone even chat? Hello? Or else what can you see from this? What can you see from this? Huh? What can you see from this? Only you can see the tree. Is that correct? In the first picture also, only you can see the woman's face. What is this orange color one? Huh? What you can see from these two? When you carefully look at this, you can see the different animals' faces. Ne? There are two animals, and also someone can see it's a graph, it's a tree. Or else, not only that, someone can see here in this place also something like an animal. And here in this, you can find the fish. Okay? Not only one actually, tiger, monkey and tree. Yes, Tilanka, very good. Tiger, monkey and tree. You could see only three, but why didn't you see this fish? There are two here, the fish. And also, what is this one? So, what do you think about this? What about this? What can you see? What can you see from this? Someone can see the black area would be a vase, or else someone can tell that there are two faces. Yes, we'll see a glass and two faces looking of each other. Yes, the looking each other. So then you can see the next one. What is that? That also you can see a face, as well as sometimes you can see this is a soldier with a gun or something like that. Okay, what can you get these two? I told you two different three different pictures, this one and this. What can you get from this? Huh? That means when you get a certain when you get a certain idea, you may have some different views, different ideas. That is the personalize of that idea. Everyone may not have the common idea. So according to your capability as well as your knowledge, your technical competency, or your marketing competency, or what you have specialized, you may have different ideas for the different different ideas, views for idea. Okay, that is what I expect from you as the students who study the innovative ICT innovation. Then I gave you the assignment one. I gave you one problem, so I could get the different ideas for that one. Some of your groups presented the idea how to if I get the vaccination, 3 vaccination, how I can prove it when I go to the public places. They have introduced a nice idea. So creating a database, and they have to give their personal information and also upload the scan copy of the vaccine card to the system. So that is the centralized database, and that access of the centralized database will be given to the different places, and they can only give the view, not only the read, not only the write and update. So when you visit those places using the ID number, or else you can introduce the different method, and they can see whether you have got the 2 vaccines with the booster. Likewise, then that is one different idea. Then today presented the different idea. So that's why I want from you, if you want to be the entrepreneur, you have to have different views of the one idea, and you can filter the best one from that different views, ideas. So let's see, the new innovation depends on these 3: the process capability of the innovation, process capability of the innovator, as well as the customer segment and buying power of the customer. This innovator must select to whom he is going to design this product or service, and the selected customer segment must have a buying power of that product or service, and also the product must satisfy the customer's unsatisfied requirement and unsatisfied or unmet requirements. Sometimes this that will be a similar product available in the market, but if you are going to develop the similar product to the similar product which is available in the market, you have to justify why the customers must buy your product or service. Okay, you have to justify that one. And key partners and innovators, if you have a good key partners, for an example, you have a good workforce and you have a good researchers and workers, co-workers, etc. So that's why get the multinational company. As I told you before in my this lecture series, the Toyota car automobile company has R&D department. In that R&D department, more than 1,000 PhD hold engineers who has the PhDs are doing the research. So as a result of that, they introduce different controlling systems, as well as even the hybrid system also they introduce. And there is a word that early birds catch the worm. So they are the first company that introduced the hybrid technology to the market, and they are the giants now, and they got the patents, and those who want to use that one, they have to pay the royalty fee. After that, the Honda introduced the hybrid technology in different ways, and other car companies also, Nissan also introduced the first electric cars, and Mitsubishi once again introduced the hybrid, electric, and the fuel. These three pluggable hybrid also likewise. Then they introduced the technology because they know that by introducing the new technology, they can get the highest market share from the market, and they can survive and they can increase the profit. And culture, organizational behavior, and if the company not promoting, unless the company is promoting the R&D, the company cannot be survive. So I know there are some companies, they have separate R&D department, and they are going to allocate a considerable amount percentage from the revenue for this R&D, because they know that the company depends on the R&D. And I know one company, they have the division called the global engineering, and those who innovate the new technology or new product or new service, at the end of the year, they have a competition, and from that competition, the innovators can introduce their products, their services or products, and select the first place, second, and third, and give the monetary rewards by encouraging them to do the R&D for the next years also. So these are very, very important: process capability, as well as the customer segment and buying power of the customers, key partners of the innovators, and culture, the organizational culture especially. And so what is this uncertainty principle? Actually, uncertainty principle is the value of innovation is directly related to an increased rate of uncertainty. You know that innovation, even though after doing the market research, as well as understanding the customers and customers' unmet and unsatisfied needs, but there may have a certain uncertainty of these innovations. no, we cannot assure that the customers or the custom segment will accept this 100% accept of this product. So uncertainty principle actually we can tell as the time to react, as well as level of uncertainty, velocity of opportunity, the fast and the slow. When you consider time of react, at the beginning the time of react is slow and slow, but uncertainty is also not in a high level, but the time of reaction is getting reducing. The time of the reaction is fast, so there may have the uncertainty also develops. So if it is a fast react, the uncertainty also will be sometimes high. So this is actually one of the uncertainty principle. And what is the process of, then you can see what is the process of innovation actually. Innovation is a process you can learn and improve it, and if that violation or misuse, then it's time to sign up for new religion, one that doesn't put ability to innovate one pinnacle, but rather within reach. Actually, I will discuss once again about this, the innovation process, the next week in detail. So for the today's, that's all.